Pizza Jaffa's orange grows. Microchips is us. iPhone cameras us. Taco salads us. Dodavabanos us. Olive Garden us. White phosphor us. Sabra Hamas. Hezbollah us.
Witam i zapraszam to Bad Hasbara, the world's most moral podcast. That was Polish. What's up, everyone? My name is Matt Lieb. I will be your most moral host for this podcast. That's right, not just host, because it is just me again. Daniel Mate is still out on his canoe trip. He is canoeing in British Columbia, or whatever it was actually called before it was colonized. And I hope everything's going well with that trip. I hope it's great. And I hope he knows how hard it is for me to do this without turning it into a bit about what is happening to him sexually on the trip. I really want to do it. There's jokes that I would like to make. He's currently, getting, but I'm not gonna do it because I've listened, I've learned, and I've realized that, not everyone enjoys a constant update of their co-host who is out of town being, put in various medical scenarios in which they have things stuck in their rectum. Not everyone likes that kind of joke. So I'm not doing it. Daniel, I hope you're having a great time. He's going to be back soon. So, get excited for that, for normal episodes of Bad Hasbara. But for now, it's just me. Hi, everyone. 5 stars in a review. If you haven't done that yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. You might be new. It's possible you're a new listener/watcher and you don't know about 5 stars in review. Well, if you're listening on a podcast app, please give 5 stars in review. It helps the algorithm, helps people see that this podcast exists. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do it. youtube.com/@badhasbara. You can subscribe. You can click the notification bell. That's how you find out when new things drop. And new things are dropping all the time. Sometimes we put out an episode that, was in the Patreon. We decide to unlock it. We did that this week with Michael Schertzer's episode that we did with him about a month ago. He recently, the episode is about how he was deplatformed on both, I think, Facebook and Instagram. By Jordana Cutler, who is essentially a Israeli agent, for lack of a better word. I mean, that's what she is, and she's there very specifically to try to clamp down on all of the pro-Palestine voices out there. And he is one of the accounts that she, I think, personally deplatformed. When we had him on, he had just been deplatformed. He got deplatformed again. He made a new account and they got him again, folks. So we put out the episode to everybody. And, I do hope that you guys all follow him on all the social media platforms in which he is still available, and look out for the new Instagram handle for him. What else? Okay. First of all, shout out producer Adam Levin, my big boy on the ones and twos, my best little guy. Kiss on the forehead to him, and to all of you piggies. Oink, oink. Also, just letting you know, once again, Seattle, if you are in Seattle, August 1st and August 2nd, Francesca, my wife, and I will be in Seattle. We'll be doing Laughs Comedy Club on August 1st. But on August 2nd, that's Saturday, the Bituation Room live in Seattle. We're going to be doing the Rainier Arts Center. It's going to be super fun. Please come out to that. If you are in the Inland Empire, if you don't know what that is, then you're probably not in it or in the area surrounding it. That is like inner Los Angeles. Like, Los Angeles isn't just the beach. There's a whole thing deep east that's called the Inland Empire. I think True Detective Season 2 is very Inland Empire based. Anyways, I'm going to be doing a stand-up for Palestine comedy show. And it's going to be a bunch of great stand-up comedians and me. That is going to be on Saturday, July 12th from 8 to 10 p.m. At the Casa Mazza Mediterranean Grill and Hookah Lounge in Norco. So if you are in Norco, California, or San Bernardino or Covina or whatever Inland Empire, place exists, go to Norco and go to Casa Mazza Mediterranean Grill and Hookah Lounge. I will be there. A bunch of other comics will be there. It is for a good cause, obviously. So please come out to that. Inland Empire Piggies. Today's episode is brought to you by Medical Aid for Palestinians. Medical Aid for Palestinians works for the health and dignity of Palestinians living under occupation as refugees. They provide immediate medical aid to those in great need while also developing local capacity and skills to ensure long-term development of the Palestinian healthcare system. As dedicated listeners of this podcast know, and anyone who's got a brain and watches the news knows, that the Palestinian healthcare system has been, decimated in Gaza, and not doing too great in the West Bank either. Although, of course, nothing on Gaza. So this is a really important charity. Very important that you give some money. So please, if you have any money, give it to them. And if you have any money left over and you're like, I would also like to listen to this podcast twice a week instead of once, patreon.com/badassbara. Do it. Join. Become a pay pig. Do it. You'll love it. It's nice because you get to listen to us again. Remember the first one? Well, how about another one? That's what it's like. It feels good. And we love everyone on our Patreon. And you get to join the Discord, which is just people talking to each other. You know what Discord is. I go on it sometimes. Everyone seems to be having a conversation. I don't want to interrupt, but sometimes I go on. And I don't know if Daniel does. I think Daniel might not be computer literate enough to know how to get on Discord. But anyways, please join the Patreon and do it now. There is no What's the Spin. There is no What's the Spoon this week. There's only the podcast. By the way, I have to mention this. But I think it was Daniel sent this hilarious comment in I think it was Spotify. From someone named Situational Lefty wrote, do you guys ever get around to talking about Bad Hasbara? I've tried to listen to your show 3 times, but it never seems to start. Fair enough. That is a fair point. Sometimes it takes a while for this podcast to get going. So we're gonna just rock it right to, it's already been like 10 minutes, but we're gonna rock it right to the start of this podcast and introduce our amazing guest. This guest, fellas, I'm very excited to have him. I recently did his podcast, Habibi House. He is one of the hosts of the great podcast, Habibi House, which you can follow. Links will be in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, welcome to the podcast, Assad Shalhoub. What's up?
Thanks for having me, Matt.
How you doing, bro?
I'm confused. I thought it was the most oral podcast.
It's both. We're both moral and oral. We're we're moral in that we believe in Palestinian human rights, and we're oral in that we just love a good It
kind of tracks with the jokes that you were not gonna make.
Yes.
About your co-host. Yeah.
Yes. No, you've got that 100% right. This is why they call us the most oral podcast, because I can't help myself. I just want to do sex jokes about penises going in and around my co-host's mouth.
Orify. Is it orify? Is that the
orators?
Plural of orifice, orify. I don't know.
Oh, orify. Yeah, that sounds like that's probably is the plural of
or is it orifices?
Orifices feels wrong.
Yeah, it's very wrong.
I think you're right. It's orify. Speaking of orify, you have a wonderful podcast in which you speak with your mouth. That kind of tracks. Tell me about Habibi House. When did you start that podcast? Yeah.
Man, we started that, and we there's actually, like, if you scroll down on our Instagram, the very first post is all three of us in one of our apartments, kind of just scheming, and it's like I took like a blurry photo, and it was like July of 2022. We started the hashtag Habibi House, and like we ideated that. We were like, it's, I always say this, like, three guys are, you were like, it's toxic. It's like, yeah, let's start a podcast, and then like 99% of people don't do it. And then we kind of like, we did it. And I think there's there's an interesting stat that I think only 1% of all podcasts make it past episode like 21.
Oh yeah, for sure. That sounds like about right.
Only like 20% of those podcasts or 20% of podcasts in general have video. So like, guys like us kind of get, the consistency is what separates us. So
yeah,
we
actually
really wanted
podcast.
to, right. We really wanted to like, be like, not just haphazardly do it. So we actually started the Instagram in July, didn't record our first episode until February 2023. We didn't have any of the AI like automated editing stuff. So the very first episode was the most painstaking. It was just us three. Like, we didn't really know what we were doing. And then we didn't really release it until, and the funny thing is, we actually, one of our co-hosts is from Gaza, right? So Talal, we couldn't avoid, like, this is pre-October 7th, right? So
right.
We were taught, we just talked about Palestine and Lebanon just because that's where we're from, and it kind of naturally came up. And we were, at the time, we were like, should we release things talking about Palestine? We're all kind of in the entertainment business. That's kind of our MO in general, is like three Arabs navigating Hollywood. We're all kind of in different pockets of the entertainment business, and we're just, there really wasn't an Arab American podcast. So we, we wanted to solve that problem. And that's kind of what we did. But yeah, so we didn't release our first episode until like May 2023. And then we just, luckily by that time, like different tools were used where you can automate like the camera switching process. Because no knocks to anybody that do virtual podcasts, because I'm not going to be able to like talk to somebody in Europe or something very easily, trying to get them in the studio. It's like a constraint, but we do pride ourselves that we try to do it in person, in the studio,
which is really nice. I was I went to the studio to do the podcast, and it was like the first time I've done an in-person podcast in so long, and I was like, can we just? I didn't want to leave, bro. Like, I was like, can we just hang? I don't know. It was a comfortable chair. Right? I felt like, it just felt professional, which is very, very nice. Also, it's a good way to actually get like,
more extra content too,
extra content, but also it's like celebrities or whatnot, who are in LA. A lot of them would, if they're going to go on your podcast, if you just tell them a place to go, they'll go to it. You've had a lot of great guests on that podcast, guests that I've been like, I really would love to get, like Maz Jabrani. I almost called him a jabroni. My bad.
He's actually very meta about that. He'll say that's how he's introduced like nonstop when he's going on stage. And it's just like something that he's just learned to. He's very adamant about like correcting people, but like that's just what happens. So.
I mean, what can you do? It's people. Professional wrestling is very popular here, and some people like to say jabroni. But you've had this another guest who I love his content. It's I don't remember his name, but he's the one who he goes on like Omegle or whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, Rudy Ayub.
Yeah. Is he the one?
Oh no, sorry. You're talking about
he's the one who like talks
Absorber?
to Israelis.
Absorber. He has the red
Absorber.
glasses. His name is his screen name is Absorber. His name is Hamza.
He is. I've been watching his videos now for a couple of years. and just watching his, like, to me, he does an entire like study on Israeli society, or at least the faction of Israeli society that goes on like chat roulette, which is like, just genocidal, just pure genocidal.
Yeah, you either get masturbation or Israeli soldiers.
Yeah,
There's no
which
in
is
between on Omegle. Yeah,
I don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know how he runs into so many Israelis on it.
Yeah.
Why are so many Israelis on fucking chat roulette? I mean, I guess they just they love the danger. Maybe they want to see what other people think of them.
When genocide is boring for them, they just turn to Omegle.
Yeah, they're just like, it's either talk about my feelings about how it's fun to murder kids or masturbate. It's gonna be one or the other.
Or I mean, the worst is both. So
that's right. But you have a great podcast. Everyone should check that out.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you had me on, which was fun. We talked about a lot of stuff. And one of the topics, which obviously we cover a lot here, is like false claims of anti-Semitism and what anti-Semitism is and isn't. And today we have a lot. We have a lot of wonderful anti-Semitism content.
That's the good. Going a callback to like the plus side of virtual podcasting is that when something emergency happens, you can just kind of hit somebody up and immediately do it. Yeah. So I like that. So yeah, I'm definitely down to just get into like all the insane things that have been happening since we literally last talked. So
yeah, dude, it's and it's honestly it's a content barrage. It's just it's a virtual carpet bombing of horrible clips. And we have a story where we get to use one of my favorite stings. This is our actual anti-Semitism alert.
There's no anti-Semitism in the United States.
Thank you, Norm. So Donald Trump, president of the United States, recently was at some sort of rally. I think this happened like right after we finished recording last week's episode. So many of you have already seen this, but he went on stage in front of a bunch of white people, as he likes to do. And he made this comment. Here it is.
Think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. But they took away a lot of family. They destroyed a lot of families, but we did the opposite.
Okay. First of all, he just dusted off a classic, bro. Do you know? Do you know about
Merchant of Venice?
Merchant of Venice, baby. Like Shylocks is, in some cases, folks you have to borrow from are the Harry Potter, the Harry Potter goblins. Thank you. Yeah, dude. Like Adam is pointing out there, like the literary anti-Semitic caricature is like very strange to like bring out in a crowd of people. I was like, yeah dude.
It's crazy. Okay, so you have him saying that. It's funny because when I read The Merchant of Venice in like high school, I didn't really see that the anti-Semitic trope was lost on me. I just kind of read him as this greedy person. I didn't realize that he was actually like
a Jew.
Yeah, I believe that. I think he said they call him Shylock the Jew in Shakespeare or something, like I forget, but that didn't mean anything to me. Like it didn't like
it wasn't a representation of all Jews. You were just like, there's just this one greedy Jew character.
Yeah. I didn't see it as race. Like but then again, like if it was like Shylock the Arab, I would have been like, this is weird. So maybe it didn't really it didn't hurt me because I'm not part of that group.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean,
it didn't hurt me. I mean, this is the thing. Like this character, Merchant of Venice, and all this is like. I think it's like widely contested in terms of whether or not he's doing anti-Semitism or he's doing a statement on anti-Semitism. Right. It's like because you have the whole like, plot point of Shylock talking about like, what's the difference between you and me,
Well, the thing, I mean, doesn't he actually ask for a pound of flesh, like a literal?
He
pound
does.
Of flesh?
He is asking for a pound of flesh. Yeah, which is where that comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not anti-Semitic, but what I'm saying is that like there's, it's debated as to whether or not the Merchant of Venice is just, an anti-Semitic screed, or if it's about something deeper than that. I think it's clearly about something deeper. I have a hard time believing that this would, that you would see so many remakes and so many like, TV adaptations of it if it was just considered like, fucking just an anti-Semitic thing, then again,
the timing though too, I luckily you gave me talking points before this show, so I was able to like look a little bit deeper, and obviously that you got there's always context, right? That, like, I think it was England that kind of expelled the Jews in the 1200 something,
right.
They didn't come back until 1600. So I guess that time, like there was a line that was actually interesting. People in Shakespeare's time, because I think he died before Jews were allowed back in England.
Oh, okay.
So there's a chance that he actually never met a Jewish person.
Right. Yeah. Which is,
and he made it based off of just the sentiment that was
which is interesting because it is in some ways there's a sympathetic sentiment there, especially with the sort of the does if you prick us do we not bleed like soliloquy that he like says, but Shylock is like morphed as a term. I mean it's not, when you say Shylock, you're not
it's not
like
you're not going to the humanity.
I'm just a big like Shakespeare guy. like that. As soon as he said it, I was like, oh man, this is old school. This is like, as someone who loves The Sopranos, I was like, oh, this is like mafia level anti-Semitism, where it's like you talk about like bookies, as like get your Shylock business going, or that's your loan shark business is
it's very similar. So he's calling somebody a Shylock, right? And he's literally creating new levels of irony and hypocrisy. He's in more. You got to give it to him, because he's also he's calling Chuck Schumer not Jewish. And he's calling him a Palestinian.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So the same person is doing both. I'm like, how is this even possible?
It's wild. That he just kind of hates everybody, dog.
Yeah, the cognitive dissonance is amazing.
Yeah,
like he's calling a Jewish person not Jewish. He's Palestinian, and then he's calling somebody else.
Shylock, bad bankers are Shylocks. It's wild, and it's like one of those like terms that he just fucking like dusted off that everyone was just like, what the fuck? And it was so funny because we all had the same reaction as soon as it happened, which was like, it's going to be very hilarious to watch the ADL weasel their way out of this, or watch Zionists, you knew they weren't going to meet it with the same level of like pearl clutching as they do when like a student wears a keffiyeh. It's like, they see a keffiyeh in a fucking, an ad for the Weather Channel. They're like, that we got to take that out. The Weather Channel.
Meanwhile, they're doing mental gymnastics when Elon does the Nazi salute.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah. I mean, and so it's like, we all knew it was going to happen. And there were obviously a few tweets that just got right down to it. This is from John Podhoretz, a friend of the pod. Trump bombed Iran. He can say Shylock 100 times a day forever, as far as I'm concerned. What kind of fucking bloodthirsty monster do you have to be like, listen, as long as you kill my enemies, as long as you are starting wars, then be as anti-Semitic as possible. That's fine. I don't care. Say all the words. I don't give a fuck. Which is like, it's like the perfect like Zionist mindset, which is like, yeah, anti-Semitism is only bad insofar as it affects the state of Israel. Where it's like anti-Semitism is good if it somehow has a positive, like consequence for Israel. Which is like, if you got a guy who is doing everything in his power to make sure that Gaza is ethnically cleansed, saying, he could write fucking Mein Kampf and they'd be like, whatever, bro. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Definitely. They're not hiding their mindset anymore. It's plain and simple. And, I actually have a Jewish friend that goes way back and he's just now learning about, he's really doing a deep dive. He's Armenian Jewish. They actually changed his last name when his family got to this country. So like we've been having a lot of discussions about this, and I was trying to tell him, and he had this aha moment. And I'm glad we had this conversation where he was like, it was actually based off of our thumbnail that I made it. When I said Israel exports anti-Semitism, and the sentiment is that Israel is the most anti-Semitic entity on earth because of the conflation of the Star of David, and so now uneducated people are gonna, so this flag is committing a genocide, so now all Jews are killing children, and it's gonna, so like that's kind of the uneducated surface level take that most people are gonna do, right? So and then Shylock, you look back at the pound of flesh and greedy and all this stuff, and then that's actually happening in Israeli society where they're actually taking their pound of flesh. Yeah. So you're also
you're living up to the stereotype. I know exactly what you mean. We talk about this all the time. It's just like, the constant, almost purposeful usage of old anti-Semitic stereotypes and leaning into them as like a way of trying to be trying to project toughness. It's like both trying to project toughness / it is also trying to stoke anti-Semitism. I'm like fully convinced that they're like, no, the more we, put on the octopus suit and hold the globe, like the more people will think that that's real, and the more that people will start to hate all Jews, and the more fearful Jews will get all over the world, and the more they'll move to Israel. Like that is my the long-term thinking here in terms of, and it's not like a conspiracy. It is at this point it's become very clear that Zionist institutions, including the ADL, have made the calculation that making sure that people support Israel and making sure that support for Israel is the norm in government is more important than Jewish safety in the United States. And the ADL, as a American civil rights organization, should give a shit about anti-Semitism in the United States, but they don't, Yeah.
And I think I just saw some big education organization just voted to cut ties with the ADL, like literally today. So that was I saw that. There's a glimmer of hope.
Dude, it's beautiful. Finally some good fucking news. And I'll read that. This is the Educators Union rejects Anti-Defamation League cuts ties. The Anti-Defamation League has been a ubiquitous presence in U.S. schools for 40 years, pushing curriculum direct programming and teacher training into K-12 schools and increasingly into universities, often over the objections of students, parents, and educators. Now, the 3 million member National Education Association has finally said no. In a July 6th vote, the NEA's 7,000 member representative assembly cut all ties with the ADL. The body approved the measure that the NEA will not use, endorse, or publicize materials from the Anti-Defamation League, such as its curricular materials or statistics. The reasoning, quote, despite its reputation as a civil rights organization, the ADL is not the social justice educational partner it claims to be. This is fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah, and then tomorrow's news cycle is going to be like the NEA is now classified as a terrorist
yeah,
organization.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. They'll do
So-
all of the bullshit they're gonna do, but like, I have friends who work for a different organization that is trying to essentially supplant the ADL. And what I mean by that is like the ADL is everywhere. It is in the United States as they have presented themselves as the authority on all issues Jewish. And so like people often defer to the ADL for everything when it comes to anti-Semitism. Right. Well, what does the ADL say? If the ADL calls you anti-Semitic, you are anti-Semitic. That's how like ubiquitous they are as a brand, as a name. The fact is that there are other organizations that are trying to get those contracts because they know very specifically they're like the ADL is a Zionist organization. It is not about Jewish civil rights. It is not about combating bigotry or anything. It is truly just a front, almost a propaganda wing for Israel. And
I mean, they're obviously, you want to go. Their main. I mean, the ADL is a terrorist organization.
At the very least,
the FBI was actually chasing them at one point because of the Alex O'Day bombing. Where he was assassinated in California. Actually, I believe it was in OC, where his office was bombed by two people that had ties to the ADL, and then they ran to Israel. They literally ran to Israel, and they were literally alive to this day, evading FBI, any kind of justice.
Wow. I mean,
so they have aspiring. If you look up ADL aspiring, you'll go down an insane rabbit hole.
I mean, and you can see it. It's almost like up front now, with the way that they present themselves, almost as like this mafioso organization. Like Jonathan Greenblatt is basically just like uses intimidation in order to get things done. So first,
I mean, he's been hot mic'd about shutting down TikTok.
Of
what I mean?
course.
They're like, oh, the pro-Palestinian videos are so much higher than the pro-Israel videos,
too
so we need
popular.
to shut it down.
Exactly. I know. And they're doing the meme. They're doing the Nazi meme. And it's like fucking. It infuriates me because I just watch them parrot Nazi propaganda and talking points, and I'm just like, you truly don't give a shit. So here's an example of how much they don't give a shit. First, this is the ADL's response to Shylock. You would expect, by the way, a full-throated condemnation of the goddamn president saying this instead of saying this is anti-Semitic, or the president is an anti-Semite, or the president is doing Jew hatred and stoking Jew hatred. They just write, President Trump's use of the term is very troubling and irresponsible. It underscores how lies and conspiracies about Jews remain deeply entrenched in our country. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just very entrenched. That Trump can't help it. He's entrenched. You know what I mean? It's just like, he's just some guy.
He grew up saying the N-word, so
Right,
whatever.
exactly. It's like you got to give a little bit of grace to old guys who, they might throw around a slur here and there, But I do find it troubling, motherfucker. You have called for the goddamn deportation of people who were like, isn't genocide the bad thing that bad people do?
And not just deportation, but like, I think I just saw like 6 people were deported to South Sudan. And only one of them is actually from South Sudan. So imagine the like side quest those 5 other dudes are on, where they're like, I guess I have to learn Sudanese now or something.
All right. So. Which is what are the ones people like here in South Sudan? Are we the Janjaweed or the other guy? Like, which is the good guy? Yeah.
So
no, but like, this is, it's just like so telling every time an ally of Israel in power, especially the president, but whether it was Elon Musk or whoever the fuck, it doesn't matter to them. If they're an ally of Israel, then their use of slurs is merely just troubling and unfortunate, And meanwhile, like, look at how Jonathan Greenblatt talks about Mamdani, who is someone who has constantly throughout his campaign and post his win of the Democratic primary, has constantly been surrounded by various Jewish voices in support of him, whether it's Brad Lerner, who was running with him at least on the ticket of, what do you call it? They have the
ranked choice.
Ranked choice. Yeah. Ranked choice. The fact that, like, I think it was like the biggest synagogue in New York, let him speak there. Like, he is constantly doing whatever he can to allay any fears that the Jewish community of New York might have. And simultaneously, he's not going to give into the narrative that because students are saying globalize the Intifada, it means do a Holocaust. And the way that Jonathan Greenblatt talks about this is so mafia coded. Here's him on MSNBC talking about it.
And so when Mr. Mamdani shows up and says again, I think this is a very important point, Caddy. He doesn't get to pick and choose which Jewish people he talks to. He needs to come to us. He needs to meet us where we are. If he could do that, he would allay a lot of concern.
Straight up, he's just like, no. You don't get to talk to other Jewish organizations. You don't get to talk to anti-Zionist leftist Jews or liberal Zionist, Jewish congregants. You have to talk to us, the ADL.
Let me make you an offer you can't refuse.
Exactly. It would be a shame if you talk to another Jew. Thanks, Adam. Hey, it's that's a nice campaign you got there.
What size shoes do you wear?
It certainly wouldn't. It would be a shame if I had to rat fuck it. But like the way in which he holds himself up as the ultimate authority of where Jews are at. He's like, no, he has to talk to Jews where they're at, which apparently is not the largest synagogue in New York or most storied or whatever. It's apparently not. He's not talking to the right Jews. He's only talking to the Jews who voted for him in the primary, which, I have to look into how many it was, but I can pretty much guarantee you that of the Jews who voted, I bet you more than half voted for him. So let's knock this shit out about you being the ultimate fucking, last say.
And they're doing mafioso stuff. I mean, Netanyahu's currently in the U.S. as we speak.
I know.
And I think there's another clip, I don't know if you have it, where somebody asked him at the dinner. It was like Trump and a bunch of different people, and somebody asked Netanyahu about if he's worried about the arrest, if he ever sets foot in New York, that he's going to get arrested while Mamdani is mayor. So he's like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
It's just like the ego and the brazen, nobody's the whole entire international community. There's an arrest warrant for the guy and nobody's enacting it. So.
No one's going to do shit about it. Of course, Netanyahu, he's in the United States. He's not worried in the slightest because he knows that it doesn't matter if the people of a democratic country don't like him. It's that the government is paid enough money to like him. And of course, all their boats sail in the same direction. I mean, at this point, it's never been more clear that the United States, despite any pretense that the Democratic Party has of being critical of what the type of war they're waging, it's very clear they do not give a fuck about Palestinians, and that Israel's allyship and outpostiness of Western civilization is ideologically and financially more in sync with supporting Palestine for no reason. So it's fucking ridiculous. But to continue with Greenblatt, this dude who claims to essentially, he holds the mantle as like king of the Jews of the United States, where his say is fucking everything. It's if he says something's anti-Semitic, it's anti-Semitic. If he says something is not, it's not. This guy recently went on, did an interview with this dude, Visegrad 24. Do you know about this motherfucker? So
I mean, I've seen the handle, but I don't know who the guy is.
Okay, so this is a handle that we've talked about this a couple of times on this podcast. Played some of their pro-Israel.
Is he the Indian guy?
No, he's Polish apparently.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
he's this like Polish guy who puts out doctored videos of like, students protesting, and they're saying, Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. And they'll be like, they just said, we want Jewish genocide. Like they're doing Hasbara. And they've been doing it, for a while. But I started to notice them after October 7th because they were just making these ridiculous claims. I didn't know much about who the guy who ran it was. I knew that it was like, I think it was like Felix from Chapo or something said he was a Polish dude. No, I didn't know. He went on, Jonathan Greenblatt did an interview with this guy, or this guy interviewed Jonathan Greenblatt on his podcast. And it is so funny because this dude is just a white nationalist. He is straight up just a Nazi. I should have known this, but it was news to me. And he is sitting with this Nazi who is, and he's having to like field questions about why can't we just have white Zionism though? So check this out. This is Jonathan Greenblatt being interviewed by Visegrad 24.
Israel has done, and by extension, the Jewish people have done several things right. And that is, they have managed to preserve themselves as a group of people without a state. They've managed to successfully do that for a very long time. It's a wonderful saying that goes, for as long as the Jews have kept the Sabbath has kept the Jews.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to stop you right there. The Sabbath is very funny. It's not Sabbath and it's not Shabbat. He's mushed them together to Sabbath.
Yeah, it's like my favorite band, Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. I love Black Sabbath, dude.
Yeah,
Ozzy just did his
like
last show.
Sean Connery. Even though if Sean Connery is saying Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath. Yeah,
that's exactly.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath is my favorite band.
But even unfortunately, though, Ozzy and his witch of a wife are both very pro-Israel,
unfortunately, they are. Although,
which is like the irony is like they have a whole song called War Pigs, and it's just again,
it turns out he's a war
dissonance.
pig.
Yeah.
At the very least, his wife is a war pig. At this point, Ozzy might not totally be mentally sound enough in order to have an opinion.
Right.
So
since like 40 years ago.
Right. So I might give him benefit of the doubt. He's kind of, his brain doesn't work so good. Who knows what's going on? I just don't want to.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say how when there's like a bug that gets overtaken by another bug and controls its body.
Yeah,
that's kind of what's happening with Ozzy. And his wife, like that's how his wife is controlling Ozzy's brain. So
it's like Jill Biden, Jill and Joe.
Right.
It's like they're like that little alien inside of that dude in Men in Black. It's just like the galaxy. So he fucking continues. We gotta keep playing. Oh, I did want to say, speaking of Ozzy's last show, the band Disturbed.
David Draymond got booed.
David Draymond got booed by the entire crowd when he was. They were doing a bunch of Black Sabbath and Ozzy cover songs, and he got fucking
again.
booed.
It's so iron? Like again, you have Ozzy Osbourne, who's technically pro-Israel, who hosts Disturbed, who has a front man that is signing bombs that say like "fuck Hamas" on him, and he's signing bombs that are part of the genocide, and he's like so happy about it. And then so he's getting booed out. So I guess again it comes down to education. There's levels to how much somebody's hated, and I guess he gets booed off stage, which is nice. But again, there's a stadium full of people that don't know how deep it really goes. So
yeah. I mean, it was wonderful for me to watch him be booed, especially, you know, after at this point, this dude is like signed fucking missiles. Like he's done everything. And meanwhile, he's going on and talking about like, let's cancel Bob Villain. And it's like Bob Villain, you know, Bob Villain actually just said some words. You cannot like those words, just like I don't like your words, but I'm sorry, you motherfucker, you went and signed a goddamn missile that was used to kill kids, you piece of shit. But let's continue. Here is Jonathan Greenblatt fielding this question about white Zionism.
It's a wonderful saying that goes, for as long as the Jews have kept the Sabbath has kept the Jews. They've managed to retain, in Israel is the only Western country with an above a replacement level demographic rate. If, for example, there is a group of white Americans who wants to put the interests of white Americans first and says, okay, we are a group that is currently smaller and smaller as a percentage of the entire United States, and the demographics are shifting, is that something that is problematic?
It's an interesting question. I mean,
this motherfucker has to sit there with a goddamn neo-Nazi asking him about fucking about a white nation. And isn't that the same? Isn't supporting white power the same thing? Yeah, and Adam asks, what is this racism command center they're broadcasting from? Straight up, dude. Like, I love that he came into this interview being just like, oh yeah, this guy, he posts a lot of good stuff on Twitter about how Muslims are the scourge of the world. Certainly, we will have a lot to vibe about. Now he has to sit here and explain in the most like nuanced and sincere but also concerned way possible why there's a point to be made that white nationalism might be okay, but
I think, look, the fact of the matter is I have no problem with anyone having pride in who they are and what they believe and their values, to the extent that those beliefs and those values don't infringe upon me.
Yeah. As long as the white nationalists are just, you know, doing it just for funsies, and not hurting me, then everything's fun. I mean, it's cool. As long as they're pro-Israel, I truly don't give a fuck. He literally is sitting there with a fucking white nationalist having to like find a clever way of relating to him. And he to his minuscule amount of credit, he at the very least pushes back. He goes like, well, I think white pride has a history of being sort of anti black, anti-Semitic and whatnot. And it's just like the head of the ADL is taking this interview.
I'm surprised he wasn't like, but Mamdani, he's a Muslim, right? So, you know, we can both agree to hate on him. So let's just talk about
can
that,
we stick to the fact that we think that all Muslims are bad? I thought it was mostly going to be about that and less about the white pride.
Why are we talking about things that we already know, you know?
Yeah, if we could just talk about something that isn't going to make this look like me I don't know, sort of doing a spit shine of the reputation of white nationalists, that would be good. I just don't want it to come off like maybe I value the support of white nationalists and ethno-nationalist racist neo-Nazis. If we could somehow do that. No, this motherfucker being the head of the ADL, being like the final say on what the quote Jews of the world or Jews of the United States feel about things is total fucking nonsense. He's going to have to whitewash fucking neo-Nazis in order to make them just palatable enough so that they can be useful allies for Israel. But also, he's legitimizing them. So it doesn't matter if he for him, it doesn't matter that a rise in white nationalism, a rise in fucking white pride groups is actually bad for not just, the minorities of the United States, but it's like the entire world is getting more and more fucking fascist. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care that Jews are going to be attacked by these fuckers. He doesn't. He is just like, well, if they do get attacked, they have Israel to protect them, It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he did add one more thing that he wanted to say, which I just have transcribed. So I'll read it. He said, "Hath not an avowed ethno-nationalist neo-Nazi eyes? Hath not an avowed ethno-nationalist neo-Nazi hands, organs, dimensions, social media platforms, race-based hatred, fed with the same food, tickled by the same memes, frightened by the same Islamic menace, armed by the same government, motivated by the same need to ethnically cleanse the very land their ancestors took by force while simultaneously framing themselves as the real victims, as a Zionist is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If we shoot you, do we not cry? And if you wrong us, shall we not try to get you fired from your job? The villainy you teach me I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. Hooah! That's because Al Pacino played him in an adaptation.
Al Pacino played Shylock,
yeah.
the Jew,
yeah.
in the modern adaptation.
I think
of the ADL. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is a rule, which is that Italians are allowed to play Jews.
Okay.
What's the difference? The Jew, Italian, it's
and
all the same.
And Polish people are allowed to play Middle Eastern people. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We have some ads to get through, but please, everyone, listen to these ads. Stick around. We will be right back. And we're back. This Bad Has Bara, the world's most moral and most oral podcast. I am, of course, here with Assad. How are you doing, buddy?
Man, we're cooking. We're cooking.
Am I saying your name right? Be right.
So yeah, again, it's like lazy and long in the English pronunciation. So
right.
It's Assad.
Right.
Right. And then in Arabic, it's sharper, more aggressive, more barbarian. Like,
yeah.
I mean?
More like
it's Assad.
Assad.
You're like
yeah. I think I was like somewhere in between, right?
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Good enough. Yeah, good solid enough. B+. Assad.
It's fine. You're 6'6". It's fine. You're 6'6". So
I'm big. I make up for any of my shortcomings with really long comings. You know what I mean?
Long
big
comings.
Old,
love it.
Big old dick. So this is a very serious podcast, and we're about to talk about a very serious story. Allegations against Mamdani over being fake woke or whatever. No, this happened, I think, sometime last week, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but it is of all of the hit pieces against Zoran Mamdani, like for him being, anything from being an anti-Semite to being Antifa, to him being a wokester, whatever the fuck these right-wing psychopaths are saying. They finally have found something that is less Islamophobic than this guy eats rice with hands, which is... Again, we talked about this last time, but him eating food with his hands in a country where our favorite food is hamburger and French fries, hot wings, ribs, and fucking burritos. Like, it's so funny to me. Everyone's just like, that's disgusting. Don't you know hands are for shoving into your butthole and goat seeing it until the poo-poo comes out? It's like, you guys are nasty. But yeah, the New York Times found something that everyone can get on board with calling him out for. This was the article. Mamdani identified as Asian and African American on college application. Subheading, Zoran Mamdani, the Democrat running for mayor of New York City, was born in Uganda. He doesn't consider himself black, but said the application didn't allow for the complexity of his background. I like in that subheading where they're like trying to undo the damage that they're already creating with the headline.
With the major title, it's like the big title, and then
but,
you know,
the scare headline just tells the truth. Yes, and the bottom headline, is like, sorry, JK, not really, lol. So this story,
it's literally like the headline of any time they bomb Gaza, right? It's like,
right,
they're airstrike kills possibly one Hamas member.
Yeah,
but were there 100 civilians next to him?
Yeah, but is that bad? If if a bunch of innocent people died, who's to say? Now here to say, a writer who has constantly called out for the deaths of all Arabs. So it is like, this piece came out. Here's just a little bit of a recap of it for those who don't know. What did the Times report? This is from New York Magazine. On Thursday, the Times reported that it had obtained admissions data from Columbia University that showed that Mamdani, as a high school senior in 2009, I'm old, had checked off boxes identifying himself as Asian as well as Black or African American on his application to the Ivy League institution. Mamdani, whose father has been a member of Columbia's faculty for many years, ultimately did not get into the university. The Times said that it was unable to find any instances outside of the college application that Mamdani identified himself as either Black or African American. The outlet said the data stemmed from a hack of the university and that the information was shared with it through an intermediary known online as Cremu, on an X and Substack user whose participation was contingent upon remaining anonymous. The Times describes Cremu as, quote, an academic who opposes affirmative action and writes often about IQ and race. So the
writes often about IQ and race. What the chart is: white 100, brown, black 0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Higher number white, lower number all the other races. Daniel's gonna have your ass on that French pronunciation. I don't know French, Adam. Okay, I'm not some Canadian who learns it as a second language.
I do fromage.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, you think I know French? I did take 3 years of French in high school, but I wasn't good at it. Anyways, so this Cremu, how do you pronounce it then? Write it phonetically, producer Adam, so I can understand how to say creamer or whatever the fuck this dude's name is. It's not Cremu. Oh, okay, fine. I don't want to call him Cremu. I'm going to call him by his real name. His real name is Jordan Lasker. Okay, so the source for the New York Times story that is smearing Mamdani as someone who is trying to steal a spot from an Asian or an African American, despite the fact that he is literally from Uganda and he is South Asian. I mean, he is those things. I'm not defending the idea of putting on your application fucking African American if you if you're trying to do it because you're like, I want to get a leg up. But at the same time, I'm watching the way in which this is being trotted out, and I'm going, this is like clearly a bad faith fucking smear campaign. And the explanation of he literally explained why he checked off those boxes in the application, that suits me fine. I'm totally okay with that explanation. It is so clear that this is bad faith. You know what I mean? They're doing it just to smear him. They're not doing it because they give a shit. And it is clear that this was all about defaming him in the fact that they used the hack of a neo-Nazi, this guy fucking Jordan Lasker, who is, as they say, someone who writes a lot about race and IQ, which
Right.
it's kind of like Visegrad is like, no, he's not a neo-Nazi. He's just someone who talks a lot about what if a nation was all white. And
What if?
yeah, you know, I'm not a Nazi. I just believe that the mud people should be somewhere else. You know what I mean? I'm an
Right.
academic who believes in white birth rates need to go up. Like, what are we fucking doing here? So here is Jordan Lasker. This is this is a picture of this fucking freak. He is I can only say he's got a horse face. He's someone described him perfectly. He's got he's got too much gums. And someone pointed out that he's bitches with these gums always got a fiance somehow. So he's got fiance gums. Thank you.
If Charlie Kirk and Jordan Lasker smiled at each other, who would flinch first?
Dude, I don't know. I think they'd be like, am I looking in a mirror? Like, these dudes both have way too many gums, and I'm not with that. I'm not with that shit. You got me fucked up if you think I'm with that fiance gum shit. So more about this guy, Creamy U, aka Jordan Lasker. So this is from an article where he went to some sort of like pro-natalist fucking conference or some shit. And you know, if you don't know just by the name of a pro-natalist conference, yes, it is a grouping of like white identitarian speakers and neo-Nazis essentially are all talking about natalism is just one of the many inroads into this kind of like fucking white identitarian bullshit. But Jordan Lasker, one of the speakers at the conference, is billed under a social media alias Creamy U. But The Guardian has corroborated that the account is apparently run by Jordan Lasker, a longtime proponent of eugenics. The account has been boosted or engaged with dozens of times by the platform's proprietor, Elon Musk, often on the topic of falling birth rates. On November 27th, Musk reposted a Creamy U comment on falling birth rates, adding, quote, with rare exception, all countries are trending towards population collapse. And then on the 29th, he posted, only about a third of the world even meets replacement rate fertility. This is the biggest problem of our time. Musk responded, yes. So, like, this is in the same line as, like, this fucking Visegrad guy and whatnot, this constant focus on the birth rate of the right people. You know what I mean? It's not, they're not white nationalists. They're right nationalists, you know? It's not about white people. It's about the right kinds of people having babies and not muddying it with various others who are foreigners, who don't understand our culture, our history, don't respect.
You know, who eat with their hands, you know?
Yeah, who eat with their hands. Who eat rice with their hands. Well, you know, when everyone knows your hands is what you use to dig into the toilet and drink the water. These guys, like, they're all just Nazis by another name. And it's like watching that story being essentially created by a right-wing psychopath and then reported by the New York Times was bad enough. But then it turned out the reason why the story was rushed out to print without anyone being like, hey, can we stop for a second and consider that our source is like literally a pro-eugenics Nazi guy? The reason was recently pointed out in Semaphore. Apparently, they did it because it was a scoop and they published it ahead to avoid being scooped by Christopher Rufo. Let me read some of this. Some critics defended Mamdani's decision to identify on the admissions form as African American, noting that he was born in Africa. Others questioned why the Times would publish an entire piece based on leaked details of a teenager's rejected college application. But much of the criticism focused on one of the paper's sources, a pseudonymous academic on Twitter whose views on affirmative action and race and IQ have faced intense criticism. So the story that was published, it did not want to be scooped by independent journalist Christopher Rufo. If you don't know who Christopher Rufo is, Christopher Rufo has made an entire career on being the guy who is against critical race theory, CRT. He has very successfully created entire campaigns to stop talking about, American history with regards to Black people in this country as, coming in as slaves. He stopped talk of, he is honestly very influential white nationalist who is able to, infect our public education systems in various states with this like attitude of, oh, if it makes white kids feel bad to read American history, then we're not going to read it. Like, he took this academic term, critical race theory, and turned it into, he wokeified it essentially. He turned it into like, anytime someone wants to talk about Black issues in history in an academic sense, then, or racism, or any kind of white supremacy that existed in the United States and still exists in the United States, he's turned that all into this blanket term of CRT, and he has been pretty successful at, poisoning the, academic institutions, at least, public institutions and private institutions, to like stop teaching history, essentially. So he's a fucking racist psychopath. And the New York Times did not want to get scooped by him. They were like, we got to get it out before Rufo does. That's fucking crazy, dog. When your competitors are just white nationalists, maybe you don't need the story. Maybe it's not that big of a scoop. You know what I mean? Like, who is this for? Who is this story for, dog? It's just crazy to me, dude. We have to beat Der Stürmer to press. Exactly, Adam. Like, the fact that these guys are just like, oh no, if Rufo gets it first, then we won't get the credit for being the guys who broke the here's some boxes he checked story. That's like a commitment. That's a commitment to smearing Mamdani by any means possible. Where like you're going to literally be in the white nationalist like news sphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like people dig into, obviously whenever anybody gets into the spotlight, people dig into their like post history. Right?
Yeah.
Anything that they've ever done. I saw one, I think he was like wearing gloves in 2020 and he was flicking off Columbus, like the statue of Columbus.
Yeah.
And then like the comments were like, oh, he's wearing like, oh, he's probably vaccinated. Like, just, like what? It's just
they're finding
the
whatever they
mind,
can. Yeah. And it's crazy because like Mamdani is, I expect he's going to get these attacks from like white nationalists and like, like online right-wing freaks. Yeah. He's going to get attacked by Zionists. It's just, we already know this. It's when the New York Times inserts itself into the story by being like, oh, here's our big smear hit piece on him. It's like the only purpose this serves is to further try to like delegitimize him. And for what reason? Like, what reason other than you are scared of having a openly socialist mayor, an openly Muslim mayor, and an openly anti-Zionist mayor, or at the very least, an openly, Israel critical mayor. You know what I mean? It's like the only reason you would fucking do this is because you are inserting yourself into the election. You're trying to poison people against him, and it's just fucking. It's crazy to me, dude. It's crazy. I expect people to go after him who are like these online fucking, Zionists and shit like that. There's this one guy. Let me read you this. There's this guy, Eatin Fishburger, who posted this. This is something that Zoran posted in 2014, May 2nd, 2014, where he wrote, "I've been forced to personally grapple with these inconsistencies during my time here. I sit in class not knowing whether to correct everyone's mispronunciation of an Indian woman's name. I usually do, but today I'm tired. I'm tired of being one of the few non-white students in a classroom, if not the only one. I bring up race in discussions only to see the thought flicker in my peers' eyes and their tongues. They sigh without a sound. I've brought up race again. I've sidetracked the discussion. I've chosen to make an issue out of it." And, I don't know the context of what that is, but this is like this guy, this, Zionist poster online trying to frame him as a woke. That's what he's doing.
Imagine going to class with this guy.
Right.
That's
Imagine going to class with this guy, he writes. And chat, is it gay to be thoughtful? Yeah, it's like fucking the fact that he's like, imagine it's like, have you been to class? That's what class is. I'm sorry. That's what school is. That is always been what school is. And you can be like, I'm annoyed by that guy, but trying to make that into, an issue is hilarious to me. I just have to point out this tweet though. Someone wrote, this is President Taguro wrote, Israelis be named Eatin Fishburger.
Yes.
That's maybe the funniest. That's maybe the funniest.
Oh, man.
Israelis be named Eatin Fishburger. That's true. Israelis
it's kosher, right? I don't know.
I mean, it's true. The Israelis do be named that. Call the morgue and pick up the dead body on that one. Yeah.
There's not enough There's not enough sounds in that.
Yeah. There's no This dude is Eatin
Fishburger.
Named after an item on the fucking like Long John Silver's menu.
Yeah, let me get a number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eating a fish burger right now. Oh my god. Shit. But yeah, like, the attacks that Mamdani is getting have been like fucking all over the place, because it's clear that the Hezbollists like they don't know what to do. Like, they don't know what angle to take on trying to, like, bring him down. Some are, like, you've got the fucking New York Times being like, let's go the liberal angle and saying that he's problematic because, he applied to a college that he didn't get into. And then you have like the fucking Zionist angle, which was like, aren't you scared of Muslims? Don't you remember 9/11? That's like the big one for them. They love being like, do you remember 9/11? How can you elect a mayor who's Muslim? And it's just like, at this point, that sort of open Islamophobia, I know it's accepted by a bunch of fucking racists, but like New York City, you really think New York City is about that level of fucking, like, I'm not talking about fucking, this isn't Tennessee. This is fucking, this is fucking New York City, dog. You think in New York City, they're like that fucking Islamophobic? You can't live in New York without dealing with fucking, Muslims, Arabs. There's no fucking way. I'm sorry. It's crazy to me that they would even try that angle. Do you think that, what when you see this like level of Islamophobia and level of Islamophobic, attacks on him.
First
what
of all, as Rami Youssef said, I think it was on the Daily Show or something. It's like, we need a better word than Islamophobia.
I know.
We need something that's like on level with anti-Semite.
Yeah, 100%.
We need it. So if anyone in the chat after this airs, like, we need some ideas.
Yeah.
What is the new term for Islamophobia? Because
Yeah.
it's not like a fear. It's like you don't go and like hide in a corner when a Muslim walks in.
Right, exactly.
Like, you know, I'm not like arachnophobic. You know,
right.
I hate
You're not
spiders
scared of
or,
it like spiders. It's just like,
we need a
Muslim made
word,
a web
so.
in the corner of my home. Just like,
Spider-Man, yeah. Oh man.
Don't be
yeah.
phobic of the Muslims. You know, if you see a Muslim in your home who's built a web,
catch him in a little cup.
You put
and put him outside.
you put that Muslim outside. Exactly.
Yes. Let him be free, but not not where you're at. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't kill the Muslim spiders.
That's right.
That's
right.
what we're gonna. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's just they're grasping at it's not even creative anymore, right? It's not even fun and exciting. I mean, we're making fun of it,
right.
but the levels of laziness when it comes to like finding something, like, because they can't find anything, you know what I mean? So they're just making stuff up now. So
yeah,
I think it's definitely, you know, who knows? Like, some people are like, well, you know, he's a plant, you know, he's a this, he's a that. They're allowing him to be mayor because, but then, you know, you have guys in like tech. I was just talking about this with my a VC buddy of mine that's like a Middle Eastern guy, and he was just shocked. He didn't even know how deep it went with like guys like in Palantir and Sequoia and like really large firms and people that are like actively in but you have a guy like Bill Ackman, for example, who's literally, you know, saying the same exact stuff, and he's just they're donating hundreds of but they're giving and supporting Eric Adams. They dropped Como, and they're now, it's like, okay, Eric Adams is now the what do you call it, the agent of white supremacy, as a black person, that's supposed to defeat the bad Muslim guy, you know, and they're putting hundreds of millions of dollars behind him in hopes that, you know, he's gonna beat Mamdani. So yeah, there again, if it takes Mamdani to like completely turn the system on its head, you know, we welcome something like that here in California. It would be great. We don't have ranked choice voting here, unfortunately, for the mayorship. But hopefully one day. I mean, we just had Butch Ware on our end. We haven't released the episode yet.
Oh, cool.
He definitely talked about what he believes Kamala is going to do, and Gavin Newsom is going to go for the presidency, and Kamala is going to run for governor, and who's going to run for mayor. So yeah, there's some, you know, he's you know, trying to predict what's going to happen, but who knows at this point. But yeah, I think it's a good step in the right direction, and it's again, like I've said this about Trump, like Trump brought the nastiness to the surface, right? Now we can do something about it, even though it's really uncomfortable and really terrible for a lot of people.
Sure, of course.
We can actually see that there's actually like, we're not just living. You know, if Kamala was elected, obviously we would all be like at brunch, as they said, but that's the thing, is like, it's all we're placating and just kind of like numbing people, like, oh, okay, well, at least we don't have to deal with crazy tweets anymore, you know. So it's so yeah,
you know, I just to you know, for, you know, back up your point, it's like, yeah, the, you know, Trump being the guy who's got the fucking bully pulpit or whatever. I mean, this is the guy who gets to fucking be the face of America and American foreign policy, and just having him be like this fucking, like, all of his pretense is just for right wingers. It's anyone else in this country who hears him talk, he just says the fucking out loud the things that he's going to do, or the things that he would like to do, and it's like, as opposed to, you know, a Kamala Harris, who's or any Democrat who's going to pretend, and that's all a lot of these liberals need, is someone who's at least going to say the right words, the right combination of words to make me okay with continued death and destruction
sleep better
of
at
Palestine.
night. But yeah, I think that it gets, I had I think we had Greg Stoker on, not in the beginning of the year, and his army background, like his mentality is it's going to get worse before it gets worse. So like to add on to that, it's like it's going to get worse before it gets worse before it gets better.
Right.
And that's my maybe like I'm being just too hopeful and naive maybe, and but like hopelessly optimistic. But what else do we have? We don't have.
I know.
If we don't have that kind of hope, then what's the point of it? So it's
I completely
that's
agree.
kind of where we're at, So I think with Mamdani, doing that, he's literally staring the system in its face, and more power to him. And I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I am like cautiously hopeful when it comes to him. Cautiously, because I think you should always be critical of any politician, anyone who's got the thing in their head where they're like, I'm going to run for something. It's okay to look at them suspiciously, because he has to say the phrases, I believe in Israel's right to exist. Right, exactly. And
he says that because he knows who he's talking to. Who knows if he's just saying that to get the votes, and then he switches his tune and off. I don't know. I don't know what to expect because like for people who are super pro-Palestine, myself included, like you'd never catch me saying that ever.
Of course,
you know
same.
what I mean?
Right, and it's like
but he has to play the game. He's choosing to run in like little Tel Aviv, New York, basically.
I mean, in the city with the largest Jewish population in the world.
He has to play that game. And when everyone's asking him, well, where would you visit first? So you're saying you wouldn't visit Israel? It's like,
right.
Why is that even a talking point?
Yeah. And I think strategically, I was a little concerned about what his strategy was going to be with regards to that. And they're always waiting for the other shoe to drop in terms of like, someone deciding to use a bunch of euphemisms and then completely abandon, the Palestinians.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, man, I've seen a lot of the critiques of him, and in terms of the way he has spoken about it. There's a lot of people who are already on the he's a plant, he's gonna fucking this and that and the other. Right. But it is really truly, watching. It truly is inspirational, actually, watching him, be constantly made to account for holding beliefs that are principled in his stance and not give in to it. The question of whether he will give in, who fucking knows? But at this point, the reason they continue, like the ADL keeps talking about him, the reason Jonathan Greenblatt keeps yelling at him like, no, you got to talk to me, you got to kiss the ring, you got to fucking, is because of the fact that he refuses to back down on this stupid fucking framing of like, oh, if you say globalizing intifada, something he has not actually said, if you say that, you automatically mean, that you are a fucking, Nazi and whatnot. I mean, and that does take guts, especially when you are now a serious candidate. Like, fucking when he was running and it wasn't sure, I thought he was going to lose. I was like, yeah, who cares? They're going to try to frame you as anti-Semitic anyways. Just fucking, stand on your principles.
If I was Mamdani, I'd be more worried about everyone talking about my wife.
I know.
Yeah, everyone's, because I think she's Syrian.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of, romanticizing all that too.
I know.
I think he's, I don't know. It's good. He's putting her in the limelight too. So
I know. And as somebody who also has a hot wife and who's on the internet, I feel you, Mamdani. I know what it's like to watch my hot wife be sexualized by anyone who is not allowed. Only I can sexualize her. and I do sometimes.
Love
I'm not
that.
tired. Yeah. But yes, his wife is you know. His wife
I mean,
is
and
very
they're
smart
good.
and
Like
great.
they are what politics is all about. I think is like people were saying that about Trump. He's new and exciting, and this and that. He's not a politician. I think that was all in like manipulation tactics, but I think I truly believe that couple is new and fresh and exciting, and no matter what he's said to like get to that point to like win, it's still a step in the right direction and something that's needed as like a catalyst. So I see it from that perspective, but as you said, be cautiously optimistic and take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And I will say this too. So here's the thing. Whether or not he is like, maybe the most cynical among us, or maybe the most realist among us, say is like, oh, he's a plant, he's an Obama and whatnot. Whether or not that's, like he's an Obama.
Mamdani is Obama. That's a cool thing.
Yeah. Like whether or not that's true, is yet to be seen. But the like crazy thing about it all is like what you have then is a candidate who voters are excited about enough, and especially the left. The left is not easily excited about electoral politics. We're a tougher crowd, right? The fact that he's able to convince people that he means what he says, wouldn't that be enough for the Democratic Party to be like, oh, that's sick, that's great? Because we've mostly got guys like fucking Cory Booker who like he like is a complete fucking like nobody believes the word he fucking says. Kamala Harris, no one believes the word he fucking says. Joe Biden, no one believes Chuck Schumer, no one believes them. Everyone's like, every time they talk about anything that sounds like they believe in something, we're just like, no, you don't. This is all fucking focus grouped bullshit. If you've got a guy who people are actually like excited about and they believe just straight up, they're like, oh, I believe he's genuine. That's like a rare thing, bro. Back up the guy who is fucking, that's a guy who wins shit. You fucking idiots. And the fact that they are really willing to tank their own fucking chances as a party for the sake of supporting Zionism, for the sake of supporting capitalism, for the sake of stopping a Muslim mayor. Like, to me, I'm like, that says everything you need to know about the Democratic Party. They can't look at this guy as like a fucking gift, as like, hey, because what if he is fake? He might be fucking bullshit. He might be. These guys are like not that interested in winning. They're interested in maintaining the status quo and their own fucking power in the Democratic Party, where they're like, no. We have the ideological center, and it's being pro-Israel, it's being pro-business, and it's a handful of other issues that the left likes. But for the most part, money, Zionism, fucking, that's it. Some other shit too. Isn't that crazy? That's fucking nuts to me, dog. But, it is that time of the podcast in which I will say that was a really good podcast. I do have one more thing, actually, I do want to show you.
So do I, and I'll go ahead.
Oh, you have something?
No, I was just gonna say, we have a challenge between me and you.
Oh,
you're gonna hear it here first on Bad Hespero.
All right.
I want the people in the chat to guess between Matt Lieb and Assad Shalhoub who is getting deported first. Yes.
Try to figure it out. Which one of us is more deportable? Is it me?
Yeah.
Or is it Assad?
We'll predict.
Yeah.
I'll get my I don't even want to say it. That one word that we started this podcast on. Yeah. You can say it. I can't.
I'll get my Shylock to start placing bets.
Yes, exactly. I'm so glad you caught.
I got it, dude. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I got you.
I got one more thing for us.
Yeah.
It is from our wonderful segment that I love so much. It is Am Yisrael AI. Picture of a lion with an Israeli flag, and a picture of Hamas as an octopus or a bug. I'm Israel high. I'm Israel high. I'm Israel AI. Israel AI. Hell yeah. Okay. So here is
Man,
the last thing
great.
I want to show you guys. We have a new Nas Daily video. Now this is not about Israel, but because it's Nas Daily. Are you familiar with Nas Daily?
Yeah.
Do you know about this guy?
There's there's a few of those, like the token Arab guy that Zionists love. They just love him.
They love him. They love him because they get to say all the talking points and through like representational politics convince people.
Yeah.
And like he is someone who has been very guilty of that, and he is been on a streak of making AI videos that have been fucking horrible. But he had one about socialism that I just had to play because I was like, this is so baby brained that it's incredible to me how much this is like an insight into someone's weak intellect. Here is his video about Karl
I snuck
Marx.
into the private home of Karl Marx, the father of socialism.
Get out of my house!
Just to show you that this guy is a hypocrite and socialism is a bad idea. He said workers should be treated fairly. But guess what? He had a maid for 30 years and he never paid her.
I love working for free.
Oh, and he got her pregnant. Didn't tell anyone and didn't raise the child.
I need a revolution, not a child distraction.
I love deadbeat dad fucking Karl Marx. Yeah, this will change my view.
He hated rich people, but lived...
Okay, sorry for those who are listening and not watching. There's an AI video of Karl Marx just kicking the side of a car that, by the way,
T Ford or something.
Yeah, long before cars existed.
People, but lived in a nice house with wine and cigar, all paid for.
Wine and cigar.
Cigar. Very nice.
Very nice. You
very nice. It's more very nice for sure.
Very nice. Very nice daily.
By his rich capitalistic best friend.
Keep studying, Carl. Your ideas are awesome.
And the best part, Karl Marx never had a real job, but he wrote books about socialism telling us how
to fix jobs.
to fix jobs.
Workers of the world, unite!
Today, socialism is sexy. Young people love it.
Socialism means fairness and the future for everyone.
But before you fall in love with the ideas, remember who came up with them. That's 1 minute. See you tomorrow.
Fucking just
the AI. Hold on. There's so much to unpack.
There's so much to unpack.
He's like walking side. Why would he want the optics of walking next to AI?
He's next
Marx.
to AI Karl Marx. I'm standing next to a hypocrite.
And then after this entire like montage that he made, he's like promoting how to do the same thing, like school, like AI school.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Right here, it's just like learn AI content, not Nas.io school, AI school. Like literally, it is him.
Oh, he's got a lot more days.
Oh yeah, dude. We got a lot more days of AI content from Nas Daily. We can't possibly do all of them, but this one I just was like, fucking A, bro. Like the argument of like. This guy says he loves socialism. He says he invented, but then he has made hypocrite much. It's like, what? This is 7th grade level fucking like gotcha on socialism. I mean, I love it. I love it. I love it, dude. There's sometimes a brain can be so simple and beautiful that you're just like, I just want to have it in a glass jar by my bed. I just want to ask it, questions like, what's your favorite color? Well, what's your favorite song to sing? I don't want to ask it about socialism.
Some people, man, the fact that they were ever given a platform or a phone, it's funny how they all expose themselves, so.
Yeah, I mean, and with him, especially, it's always fascinating to me because he was, I used to watch him back when I thought like, oh, let a fucking Palestinian guy go travel the world and make a travel vlog. Like, what are we doing? Trying to hold them to account. And then like, as the Hezbollah started ramping up on his shit, I was like, oh no, this not good. This not good at all. But hey, shout out to Nas Daily. Keep making that content. And let me know
it keeps the lights on here at Bad Hospital.
It keeps the lights on here. And let me know if you ever figure out how to like tie your shoes or something. I swear. Like, let me know if you ever
can you play that first, like I think we glazed over like literally the first frame, like the first scene of that.
Yeah. Hold on. The first scene.
I think
I snuck into the private home of Carl.
Like what happened there? Like go to the very first. He went down the into the fire, like the flaming fire.
Yeah, that's a good point. he AI'd himself going down the chimney, and if you look, the chimney is on fire. There is currently a fire in the chimney.
Oh Jesus!
And I also like that he, like as a Palestinian, man making a video here.
He's the opposite. Oh yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Crawling through the flames to get to the
tunnel. He's going through the tunnels.
I mean, listen,
army crawling.
Listen, I get it, Nas. I'm also self-hating. I know what it's like. It's sometimes you got to put on a smile and a dance. But come on, bro. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
Home of Karl Marx, the father of
Get out of my home.
Yeah, Karl Marx is looking at him. What is this Palestinian doing here? Get out of my home.
I built this chimney to not have this,
Yeah,
it's on fire, and the demon Palestinian is not flammable,
I knew it. Fucking. Also, I like that his AI fucking somehow he programmed this fucking AI Karl Marx to not be Jewish. I just want to point that out. Like, he is absolutely made a fucking Gentile Karl Marx.
Right.
Like, Karl Marx did not. Karl Marx had famously curly hair.
Right.
Famously curly hair. He looks like fucking Brian Cox. Like, he fucking the idea that he would change that, you just know that came from like, well, I don't want to be offensive to the people who are funding this. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to make Karl Marx a Jew, because then it would look like he was going after Jews. Man.
Thanks.
Dude, it's just crazy. I just love
his capitalistic friend has like a southern accent. Well, I don't even know.
Hey,
Carl, your ideas are awesome.
Yeah, I love you, and I will give you money.
Best friend.
Keep studying, Carl. Your ideas are awesome.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh god.
I just have a feeling he wrote this dialogue himself. Yeah, that is, I love that. It's just like, I want to see the script for it. And then Engel says, keep going. I love your ideas. I have to leave you and go back to San Diego, Carl. Yes, Adam.
Freaking, I gotta, go back to Brooklyn.
Dude, straight up. I have to go back to Civil War. The dude is wearing this great coat. Oh, that's so fantastic. That's so great. Nas, God bless you. God bless you.
Well,
and keep
I'm gonna speed up my deportation, because the answer to all of this,
yes, Oh, hell yeah, dog. For those who are listening and not watching, you have Mario's brother's famous hat, the green Luigi hat. Luigi, a name that means one thing and one thing only.
Player
plumbing.
2.
Yes.
The controller that I unplugged for my brother while I played.
That's right. Yes. So he kept losing, and you're an older brother for sure.
I am.
You got that older brother.
I was the menace for sure.
Oh, I love it. Well, I love it, and I love you. Thank you for coming on and talking about Bad Hasbara with us. Where can people find you and find your work and social media and all that stuff?
If I'm not in Guantanamo, in like El Salvador or something by the end of this, you can find me at Habibi House Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically across all platforms. And also basically we have my other initiative, Mena Creator Club.
Oh, hell
That's,
yeah.
My other initiative that I've been creating personally with my partner, Stevie.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah. I mean, you could also go see the episode that Matt and I did together. Yeah. It's actually the most watched episode we've had all time.
Oh, nice.
And it's like every time I have a white person, the views just explode. Like you and Matt and Greg. It's like I can't, we just can't we can't buy a view when I have brown people on, but so I have to just karma farm and aura farm with you, anti-Zionists,
listen, if there's one useful thing that anti-Zionist Jews can do in this time, it's to help our Arab and Muslim and Palestinian creators get their shit seen, because the algorithm favors white people and Jews. So
and I will help you get your stuff shadow banned. So
happy to be banned, happy to be shadow banned for the cause. And thank you for coming on. Great to have you on. Follow him, watch Habibi House, subscribe to it, and subscribe to their Patreon as well. All of the links will be in the description. And
appreciate you.
Of course, patreon.com/badasbara, badasbara@gmail.com for all of your questions, comments, and concerns. All right, everyone. Thanks again so much for listening. And until next time, from the river to the sea, keep them coming, Nas Daily. All right.
Jumping jacks was us. Push-ups was us. Krav Maga us. All karate us.